Another story about courage you tell is about Hank Greenberg, who built AIG into a powerhouse. So could you share some of that with us?
Yeah, Hank Greenberg really has exhibited courage his entire life. You know, he grew up on a farm, went into the military, fought in World War II, landed on Omaha Beach in 1944, and got the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star. And he tells the story of this. And, you know, he said, you're not born with courage. You have it or you don't, and you need to use it and lead, and people will follow you when they see you do it. And then he came out of the military after the stories are stunning from World War II. Then he came out of the military after the war, went back to New York, tried to get a job in insurance. You know, as a Jewish guy in New York, he wasn't exactly the one that anybody wanted, fought his way there. His stories of courage are really extraordinary, and I think that courage is a critical theme in terms of surviving and thriving in life.
The book covers a lot of ground in every way, and two things that remain with me from my reading of it are two odes. One by Benjamin Franklin, which I want you to tell the story of the role that plays on a daily basis in your life. And the second one, to illustrate the range of the book, is an ode by Joey Ramone about you. So we'll get to both of those. But tell us about the Franklin ode, which is very meaningful to you.
Well, Ben Franklin took integrity very seriously, and he would write notes about his daily life and about the way he wanted to live his life. And he wrote an ode to the way he thought one should live their life. And my father-in-law, Saul Steinberg, had this ode framed in a beautiful silver frame and gave it to my husband and I when we were married. And we have them by our beds. I have it on my side and he has it on his, and I could read you.
Yeah, why don't you read it?
Let me read you a little, because it's really, it's so simple and yet it tells so much. And the first one is temperance: eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation. Silence: speak not but what may benefit others or yourself. Avoid trifling conversation. Order: let all things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time. Resolution: resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. Frugality: make no expense, but to do good to others or yourself. Waste nothing. Industry: lose no time. Be always employed in something useful. Cut off all unnecessary actions. Sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility, chastity, humility. It's beautiful. And, you know, seeing that every morning makes me feel good. So I keep it by my bed. It was really one of the greatest gifts he's ever given us.
The other ode that I mentioned is by Joey Ramone, and I'll quote from that to give equal time to the younger generation of Americans. I watch you on the TV every single day. Those eyes make everything okay. I watch her every day. I watch her every night. She's really out of sight. Maria Bartiromo, Maria Bartiromo, Maria Bartiromo. Now, I knew of this song, but I didn't know the background to it, which you talk about. So could you talk about your email relationship, I guess it was, with Joey Ramone?
That's what it was, really. Yeah, you know, it was in the middle of the dot-com boom. And I was broadcasting every day from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange at the opening of trading and throughout the day. And I used to get emails from someone calling himself Joey Ramone. And he would say, hey, Maria, you know, what do you think about this stock? And, you know, oh, I saw the earnings report out of this company, and I'm really liking this, and I'm not liking that. And, you know, I would look at it, and I would get letters from viewers all the time, and I just assumed it was a viewer named Joey Ramone. And then a couple times I answered, and that was it. And finally, he sent me another note, and he said, you know, Maria, I just want you to know that I'm working on a song about you. And I said, this can't really be. And I emailed him back, and I said, this is not Joey Ramone from the Ramones. And he said, oh, yeah. And I just was, you know, so taken aback that this was really him. And initially, I wasn't really sure. But in fact, it was. And he called me and we spoke on the phone. And he was actually, most people don't realize, and they don't know, that Joey Ramone was a very, very astute investor. And he really followed the market closely and owned a lot of stocks and was just, focused on the stock market. And the words to that song, you'll see, what's AOL doing, what's happening at NASDAQ, how about, Intel. And so he was a big technology investor. Anyway, so one day he sent me a note and he said, look, Maria, I wrote a song about you and I'd like you to come down to CBGB's or a place like that down in the Village. And I said, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so flattered. I would love it. And he said, okay, so be there tomorrow night at midnight or 1 a.m. And I said, what? I said, look, Joey, I would love it. I said, but the truth is I have to be up at 3 a.m. to be on the air at 6 a.m. I said, so, the only place I'll be at 1 a.m. is in my bed. There's no way I can be downtown at that time. And he said, okay, well, do me a favor. At least send a camera crew. You're going to want to see this. Well, even though he told me he had written a song about me, you could not have imagined what he was talking about until you actually saw him perform it with the band. Mm-hmm. And so I sent my camera crew down there, and they came back with this tape of Joey Ramone singing this song called Maria Bartiromo. And I was so unbelievably honored. And then I learned that he was sick. And he never told me he was sick. In fact, after I got the video, I said, oh God, Joey, you have to come on my show and you have to perform this show at the this song at the New York Stock Exchange. And he said, absolutely, don't worry, I'll do it. We'll get it on the calendar. And of course, then he worsened and he got sicker and sicker, and then of course he passed. And I didn't realize how sick he was. And when I think of that story, I think to myself, just once, I wish I just stayed up all night and I just went down to see him perform that song and was there in person. And I think sometimes, okay, so what? I stayed up all night, and then I went to work. Sometimes you just have to say, what the heck, right, and have a little fun and, recognize the precious things that life throws our way. And so I'll always cherish my relationship with Joey Ramone. I feel honored to have known him, even though, unfortunately, I didn't go down that night and be with him in person. But I think it's a real lesson to learn, to recognize the precious things that life sends us and cherish them.